Ladies and gentlemen, we're at Valley Grove Cemetery. Let me tell you the history before we go in. April of 1898, Sam and Mary Burbank donated 5 acres of land to create Smith Valley's first cemetery. This is a pioneer cemetery. There's the ghost town of Hudson, Ludwig, just miles away from here. A lot of people from Smith Valley are also buried here. In later years, they had to build another cemetery called Hillcrest, which is about 1.5 miles from here. We'll go there because they said that the ground was wet due to ranching. As you can see, this is all ranch land. In the spring, it's really green. And they flooded the cemeteries. They exhumed the graves. They just didn't exhume them all. And I feel this would be a good place to get EVPs or paranormal activity, because they didn't get all exhumed. Some of them were left behind. You had husbands that were removed, buried at Hillcrest, and the wives were left at Pine Grove. Some people's kids were left here. So there are abandoned graves. It's very overgrown. Louise Cerrone and Fred M. Fullstone donated the land to the Oddfellows Lodge number 45 to establish a new cemetery. And of course the lodge, the Oddfellows Lodge, managed the cemetery until Group 31 dissolved. Eventually a cemetery board was formed, and Nellie Albright named it Hillcrest Cemetery. We'll go there. I don't want to get into Hillcrest right now, but let's just say that this cemetery, the cemetery stems off of Hillcrest, this one here. And basically, well, let's put it this way. It was abandoned when the crops were irrigated in the area because the ranchers, they were raising the water table. And so you could imagine that the grounds got muddy and coffins were coming up, so they built a new cemetery. I'll talk about Hillcrest once we enter. I hope this place has some EVP or EMF. I hope this place has some EVP or EMF energy. There's only a few stones, so I'll take a few pictures. You can see though, it's very overgrown. You got to walk through some of the brush to get to everything. We got a reading of about an 8 almost on the EMF. Now, I'm not saying there's power lines, so the only way we'll know is if we go in the middle of the cemetery where there are no power lines and I get a high reading, it means it's not. So if I walk away from the power lines, it should continue to go down and down and down. And it is. It's at a 5. And it's going to a 4. I want to use this as an example. When you get about 30 feet away from power lines and transformers, you get no milligauss readings. Okay, so in other words, what I'm trying to say is, when you see me out in the middle of a ghost town, and there's power lines 300 feet away, we're not going to pick that up. So when we were at the Witch's Circle and I got a reading of 7 to 9, those were real. It was spiking up and down. There was EMF fluctuation. These meters are they're expensive and they do their job. But on the other hand, they're very accurate. And they're very simple. You just push a button and you can get milligauss. But we're away from the power lines, and 2 and 3, that's an average reading. There's some gravestones. But this is pioneer country. Look how beautiful it is. Once we hit this, we'll hit Hillcrest Cemetery. The two are related. Wow, look at this. Wow. It's what I've seen on Google Earth. Just like it, you could see. This is what I'm saying. They only exhumed some of the graves. You have some missing, and check it out, people. Valley Grove. Old Pioneer Cemetery. Beautiful Smith Valley. My God, it's very overgrown. But it's amazing. This is a pioneer cemetery. Oh, they have even a wrought iron sign over there. And maybe a statue. Check out this. I'm going to have to get some pictures and video, definitely. Wow. Look at tumbleweeds, man. This is the Wild West. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Let's look at this one. Fine masonry work. The Oddfellows were like the Masons. Just a fraternity organization, and they actually did a lot of good things. Look, this one says Hawley, 1899. These are old stones that are in here. Wow. All right, let me get taking pictures for the website, folks. Just want to do a quick video. If I find any more graves over on the other end on this road, I'll be sure to photograph them. Other than that, look at the scenery. We also seen some deer recently. Seen some hawks. Maybe an eagle. Wow. It's pretty sad some of the graves remain. The next cemetery we're going to, it's a little bit different. They had to basically, like I said, exhume most of the people here and move them to that other cemetery, but some of these places remain forgotten. I'm gonna have my picture taken with Simpson. That's what's, remember Simpson Road? The road was named after him. See, this is well maintained. How old is this? 1918? And it's still maintained. That is gorgeous. Sorry for the sun, folks. As I was saying, here's an angle here. This is maintained, 1918, and someone's still maintaining it. They don't build wrought iron like this anymore. You'll never see anything like this with the moon hanging on over. Be awesome. All right, I'll be back if I see any more. We're getting to some walking around the cemetery. We got some stones. Hold on. Right here. And we got a couple. There we go. Look at that. There's a lamb. Might be a Jewish gravestone. This is beautiful. Some of these stones and wrought iron work is amazing. Yeah, you got a bunch of graves back in here too. Here's this one right down in here. The headstone's missing. There's a bunch of overgrown ones. There's a wood one back here too. That may have been the first burial. Hamilton, Usher, Klein, different names. Flag on this. This is quite old. Wow. There's a bunch of little gravestones. Woo! Wow. Just hiking out of the brush. There's a lot of graves that have been removed, a lot of graves that still remain. I don't know. I guess it was up to the families. The families said, yeah, we want to move them or not. Maybe some of the families didn't want them disturbed, and they said, you know, we'll leave the stones. At that time, the land was wet. Maybe it was okay for people to be here. This is the wooden section. Oh yeah, hey, I'm gonna have to get a picture in this section. I got to. All these wooden epitaphs and the wood crosses. This reminds me of like the cemetery in Utah. Check that out, man. The ground's a little soft. I can understand why they decided to build a new cemetery. Look at that. Oh, man, this is the Wild West. This is a real deal. Look at all these. Let's see, I'm in the way. Look at that. Wood epitaphs. This is the Wild West. It's Lord Rick at Valley Grove Cemetery in Smith Valley, Nevada. The moon's coming out and we have one more beautiful cemetery to go. We're leaving, ladies and gentlemen. It's pretty sad. It's kind of a sad place. There's a lot of forgotten stones. They didn't move the entire cemetery. Towards the back, the ground seemed a little soft. That's why they moved the graves. Some families probably said, no, I don't want my loved one disturbed. And it wasn't, like I said, nothing ever transpired. Some graves were left behind. You have kids, mothers, wives, husbands, aunts, uncles separated from one another because not every stone was moved. That's the tragic history. We'll see what the other cemetery is like. We're heading to Hillcrest. It's about a mile away. I didn't get any readings. Like I said, I did a reading earlier. It was the power lines. But you have to be within 20 feet of the power lines. This will get set off. If you go more than 25, 30 feet, it never sets off. How I know a reading is real is if I'm in the middle of seclusion and there's really more than 50 feet, 300 feet from a power line. Not like there's any active power lines out these ghost towns, but there once was at some of them. And we get a high EMF reading where it spikes on and off or holds for a few seconds. It's a possibility that the electromagnetic energy or the Gauss is created by a spirit. And therefore, when the needle spikes, that's when we also get our EVPs we put on our website. So you see how that works? There's a lot involved in what we do. I'm out of here, leaving Valley Grove. I took a couple pictures of deer and some mountains, and we'll add it in with this update on our website. That way we can make this place memorable for our viewers. Peace.